We welcome into the big 120 Chuck Esposito out there at Sunset Station in Las Vegas. And Chuck, we got to wait a week to get there. But when we get there, Golden State against Cleveland, part 3 in this epic trilogy that we're going to have. I got to imagine, as excited as you and I are, that your fans out there at Sportsbook Station, they're starting to flood the casino to get ready for this one?
They are. It's great for us. It's only the first time in NBA history that you've got two teams meeting for the third straight time. Although not a lot of parity in the NBA, these two teams are on a collision course, 24-1 combined in the playoffs. So it should be fun. Golden State opened up a little over a 2-1 favorite in the series. That was before Cleveland had even clinched. We put it up in the event it did occur. It's been bet up to $3 now, 3-1. So Golden State is a prohibitive favorite overall. You look at the 7 games they played last year. Although it went 7 games, only one game was decided in single digits by less than 5 points, and that was Game 7. You had monumental blowouts last year, teams winning by 30, 33, 2 games decided by 14, 2 games by 15. It wasn't great. It wasn't a great series as far as competitive games went, but because it went 7, it was great going into that final. So I think from our end, we have potential for a huge handle, maybe a record handle on the NBA Finals with these two teams squaring off this year.
Wow, so betting it all the way up already to 3-1, as you mentioned. Do you think that'll come down a little bit? I mean, we're still talking about LeBron James, and everybody wants to put him in the Michael Jordan category, and yet he's that big of an underdog. Could that change before the series actually starts?
Yeah, it absolutely can change. I think you look at Golden State and having the best road record in the league, and you look at Cleveland with a below 500. They're one game below 500 on the road. Cleveland's going to have to go in there and steal a game. I think what's interesting this year, too, is that the total for Game 1 is 226. Last year, no game in the series got over 216, and almost every game was an under. The difference this year, both teams have the Kevin factor, as Kevin Love will be playing for Cleveland and Kevin Durant for Golden State. Golden State's a 7-point favorite. I think Cleveland's going to have to be able to steal at least a game, maybe 2 games, because we know Golden State can win on the road. They're going to have to be able to do that, Cleveland. But I think overall it's going to be a huge handle, and I think if the number goes up too high on the series, there's just too much value with LeBron James getting a plus price, I think, in a 7-game series.
You mentioned it. This feels like an 80s matchup where the totals could be that high, right? Where you just see basket after basket, not a whole lot of defense play. Do you expect that number to go up, as you mentioned, 226 in Game 1?
You know, I think you look at the playoffs so far, and there's been so many games that have gone over. And I think it's the style that the league plays right now. It's a more open style. You look at teams right now, they're talking about when they draft, say Ball, he plays that up-tempo style. The Lakers are looking at kind of emulating the Warriors style. It's more of an up-tempo. Teams are so good from the outside. They just run up and down the court. You know, it's hard to imagine the total going down. I think the public likes the scoring. They like how good teams are from three-point range, and we know how dangerous Golden State is. It is a high total, and maybe because of the fact that last year you had games 193, 187, some of the games barely getting over 200, in Game 7 only 182. Maybe you see this total start to trickle down a little bit just because of that factor. But you have to remember last year, 6 of the 7 games were complete blowouts. So if there's closer games, maybe you see some of these totals go over.
Chuck, could it possibly be, who's going to break this tie? Because I know that it's great out there in Vegas, and that's why you set the line the way you do, so you get equal action on both sides. But you personally, who do you think is going to break this trilogy tie?
You know, I don't think it really matters to me, because I think next year we're going to be talking about the team that loses is going to have a chance to tie this series.
Wow.
Just the way I look at it, I just don't see, unless there's a big injury, these two teams just look so much better. I mean, think about it, 24-1 in the playoffs combined. That's kind of unheard of, and from the time the season started, we thought these two teams were on a collision course. They didn't disappoint. I would lean towards Golden State a little bit. I think after blowing the 3-1 lead last year, having the home court advantage here, but you'd like to see Kerr on the bench for them too. I think he will be there. Nothing's final yet, but I think he will be there. But God, it's hard to go against LeBron too in a 7-game series. So it's going to be fun, and I'm happy to root for, on our side of the counter, whoever we need when this tips off on Thursday night.
Perfect answer from Chuck Esposito. Check him out there at Sunset Station in Las Vegas. Thanks again for the time and the information, Chuck.
All right, buddy. Thank you.